We are back with another trading streaming session, and I'm just going to check whether everything is fine and it works on every platform, because we are streaming on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and Kick. So wherever you are, you can watch it, and then we can discuss the markets. I'm going to update you on the portfolio. And we're going to get going. I think it's fine. It should be fine, and on every platform. Let me just check that. But it seems like it's working fine right now. Definitely working on Twitter right now. Let me check YouTube, and then we're going to go with Kick and Twitch as well, where the videos are also live. And then I'm going to go through everything that happened so far. So it's going to be pretty cool, because we are at portfolio all-time high for the streaming session. Over $2,500 from around $1,000, so it's going in the right direction, and we'll be looking for the new opportunities in the market. So yeah, this is how it is. It's already working on YouTube as well, so let me just check quickly Twitch and Kick to make sure that everything is there as well. But it seems like there are no problems there, and we're going to continue with the stream. Yeah, everything is fine. Every platform is working, so we can continue. So as I mentioned, we are currently at the all-time high for the portfolio, $2,600. So that's basically started from the $1,000 basically a month ago. So this is basically going for a month, which is not bad. I mean, we did like 150% in a month, which is pretty good altogether, especially that mostly I'm streaming either Mondays or Fridays, usually once a week, sometimes twice a week, and those are the times where I take the trades. The natural premise here is to go from $1,000 to $10,000 on Hyperliquid. You can use code PC Crypto if you haven't started with Hyperliquid yet. It's the best decentralized exchange with the most liquidity and the best platform so far. And most of the strategies that I'm using here are either scalping mean reversion trades, jumping in on breakouts, momentum trading, pair trading. So sometimes I do something like long Ethereum, short Fartcoin, or vice versa. This is actually what I did last time, and I'm going to show you in a moment. Trailing stop loss so that we target steady growth. Watching waves at coinmarketman.com hyper tracker. This is what I've been telling a lot about in the previous streams, and I'm going to of course come back here because I think this is like really great for having the overlook on what's happening on Hyperliquid, because Hyperliquid, every kind of transaction, everything people are doing on the DEX is here, because that's on the blockchain. They have their own blockchain, so everything is very transparent, and you can go and see, for example, what those Leviathans are doing. So massive whales with at least like $5 million on the exchange, and they are pretty bearish. So last time what we did, we're going to of course overview what we're doing. This is going to be a new stream here. And I'm going, as you know, I'm basically trying to track everything in order to then be able to, for example, to be able to come back and think about what I did right, what I did wrong. I think this is a very good practice. And really recommend it, because then you can put it in ChatGPT or other large language model, and it will give you details on what you're doing right and wrong in a nice structure. This is what I'm doing from time to time, and I think it's amazing. So this is what we have right now. So I'm going to sum up what we did in the past. We basically had this ETH and Fartcoin position. We shorted ETH, we longed Fartcoin, and as you can see on Hyperliquid, when you go to trade, right, trade history here, we closed the Fartcoin that hit our stop loss here with the minus $260 PNL. So we lost on that position on the long for Fartcoin. That was our small hedge in case it will come up. And on the other hand, we shorted Ethereum from basically at we started at $4,600 and it went down to $4,300, and the 350 was our stop loss, and basically we hit that almost to the T, because if you look at the price action, let's say in hours, and we try to find where we took the previous transactions, you can also see all our previous transactions here. Then basically we did that was basically the same day. So during the stream I opened that short for $4,600, and basically within the same day, within the 24 hours, we basically closed the position here because it went down to our stop loss here at 350. So I think that was pretty cool. And since then it was chopping around. So we're still in this period where, on one hand, we are still in a bull market. There's a lot of bullish announcements happening, but the market on the other hand is pretty slow. And if you look at the price action, we for example had a very nice price action on Solana, which is now coming back a little bit, because Solana hit a couple of times like 220, 210, 205, which is great prices for Solana in general, but it's coming back down, making probably lower lows. So I'm a little bit tempted to go short. Anything below $200 is mostly long for me on Solana. So I'm thinking about going long here. And with Ethereum, I'm on the verge between shorting and longing, because we have massive news. We have all those DATs, all those treasury companies buying, and still the price doesn't move that much. It's going a little bit up, but there are like short squeezes and go back. We hit really like $4,900. That was last week. It was massive, but basically lasted for like an hour or so, and it went down to like $3,300. So massive swings. There's a lot of things to be done if you day trading and if you try to catch some of those positions. I think we still are in the uptrend. So if you look at the past month, then basically or the past 2 months, then we basically been steady going up, right? This is the trajectory that we have. That's pretty steady growth, but of course we have this kind of chop, and at some point this chop will probably go back to the downtrend, because nothing can grow forever. And also a lot depends on the stock market in the US, which is already at a super high prices. On the other hand, that can still be going because we have all those DATs that are buying Ethereum. We also have a lot of stuff happening with, for example, rate cuts that might in the end be coming, and those would be probably bullish. They are not priced in yet because the market doesn't really know at this point whether that's going to happen this month or next one. So I think it's not really priced in, but still, I think it's a little bit shaky. We can go both ways, so it's going to be hard right now to pick up really good trades. Also, if you look at what people are doing here, then a lot of them are bearish when it comes to the bigger accounts. We're going to explore some of those people and see what they're doing. But you can definitely see them. And then another cohort worth mentioning is looking at that money printers. So those are mostly overlapping categories, because those are the people with $1 million profits. Here we had the white whale. So I was talking about that guy in the previous streams. He has a Twitter account created pretty recently and getting popularity. He really did quite a lot recently and hit nice trades, even though he has like minus $11 million PNL right now. Altogether, he did like if you look at PNL in the past, then he did like $5 million here in the past week. That was maybe, minus 8 millions, but altogether 2 millions. And then you have those really massive swings as well. So he went up to like $20 million. He's now at $5 million. And this is something that you have to keep in mind. And also the premise for this trading on stream is that we're really going to try to 10x our capital or even more. And if you're really willing to go all the way from like $1,000 to $1 million and beyond, then you really have to do high leverage and have tricky positions. So if you want to build slowly your account, learn more, then this is not the way. And nothing here that I talk about is a financial advice. This is purely educational content, mostly for fun, trying to grow as high as possible. There's a good percentage that at some point, the probability that at some point I'm going to blow up the account. That's definitely possible, even though it's growing nicely for now. If I really want to keep on pushing the envelope and go to $10,000 and beyond, I will have to do some kind of a risky moves that can bring me ruin in a couple of moves. If I keep on getting, I don't know, like 2 times or 3 times in a row wrong, and that can happen, then I'm going to blow the account. That's the reality of trading. So you have to keep that in mind. And I think this kind of chart is really worth remembering. So even if you look at his previous streak, he went from basically having this smaller P&Ls to almost $13 million in P&L at the peak, and then he went down to negative. So you have to think about how hard it is psychologically to stomach this kind of loss when you were just celebrating your wins probably like 2 or like a week ago. So this is the kind of the trading that if you really want to have those huge gains, then you have to be ready for this kind of losses as well. So that's why I'm saying always play with the capital that you're willing to lose. Otherwise, you're going to be very, very unhappy, because no matter how good you are, and the white whale is pretty good, looking at this traction, you're going to have losses. You're never going to have 100% of wins, and you have to remember that. So yeah, here we are. We're going to look at some interesting stuff. One of the cool stuff that's happening on Hyperliquid and generally in the crypto right now is, of course, WorldFi token, which is supposed to launch right now. They have pre-launch token. So this is the perp that's already pre-launched, meaning it's not tracking the actual token movement. It will be one-to-one with the token once the token launches, but it's a contract that's basically trying to imitate the demand for the future for the token. Super risky, and there were like many controversies around the fact for over the weekend with basically this price going up. There were a lot of people hedging the price, so that's why they bought on spot and then they hedge here on the Hyperliquid, and it exploded. And same goes with, I think, XPL as well. It was pretty much similar action here with this kind of explosion. This is the plasma token. A lot of people were hedging that, and there was this kind of explosion here. So basically everyone that was hedging, meaning that they were shorting because they bought on spot and they wanted to have more of the delta neutral position, they get rinsed. And there are many people that are really respected accounts that are talking about that. I think like one of them was CBB, which is really great. Follow if you don't know him. And I think, yeah, and he also has, $20 million on Hyperliquid as well, so he's doing all right, definitely, and he got basically, I think, rinsed somewhere here. Yeah, he was very painful yesterday. We got liquidated for $2.5 million on XPL. Sharing it on CT, it was not an easy decision, and so on. So this is because of this week, basically, because even though it's like the maximum is 3x leverage, then this price action went from 0.6 to 1.8. So any kind of leverage actually liquidates you. If you have 2x, then it's basically liquidating you right away, because it went 3x up. So this was pretty crazy move. And even though I'm more on the side of like shorting both XPL and Word token, right? Because they have massive valuations, and I think that's not sustainable in the end. I'm pretty much scared about those kind of weeks, and you can see that how much of there is of the volatility right now. That's why I'm trying. Probably it's not wise to touch it. I think much better would be to just, if I'm thinking for this session, to basically go with something like shorting ETH maybe again, and then maybe hedging that with some kind of a SOL maybe position or hype position. There are a couple of interesting stuff that I'm going to look at. What I wanted to do as well is that, I have to summarize the P&L from the past session. So right now we have, let me go with the portfolio, probably the fastest, 206 for, so yeah, so that's the total. which means the total P&L from the last session, that was the, well, not here. Total P&L from the last session was, we have to subtract that. This is basically, let me count in my head, 400, 700, right? Well, almost 700, right? Yeah, counting on the stream is not the best. Even though I have a PhD in mathematics, I'm not really great at computing in my head when I'm streaming. Yeah, so it's like 700. I'm just going to go like that. So it's 220 plus 640, right? That's 860. That's okay. That was easier to do it. I'm basically, counting to 1,000 and then adding that thing. Okay, so that was the P&L from last time. Very solid one. And then we're going to look for the trades right now. Yeah, I mean, from this point, it's possible that we hit 10,000 right away. We could probably do it but it will be very, very risky. And I'm not trying to do that because we're probably going to chop a little bit more in this kind of market. One way to hit it, if you were to hit it in like one trade, we probably, like do massive short here or massive long, and then hit the direction right and just take profits like higher up. So for example, if we were to enter the position here and then hit either 5,000 or go below and hit something like 3,800, that will probably allow us to be in the place that we want to be. But that's super tricky to do. And yeah, I have to mention that what I'm doing here is super short term as well, right? So for example, with Ethereum, even though I just made money shorting here, then I'm basically still holding spot of Ethereum, still looking actually if it goes a lot down, then I'm probably going to buy more Ethereum as well, because I think like in the end, super bullish on Ethereum. I like the technology. Same for Solana, same for Hype. It's just short-term price movement is different from long-term holds. So you have to keep that in mind. So this is what we'll be looking at in this session. This is one of the things. We're going to look what people are longing and shorting as well. But yeah, ETH is definitely one of the things to keep in mind. Here, the white whale is actually longing it. With pretty big size. I wanted to have a look at a couple of other guys and what they're doing. And so the white whale is very bullish. There are a couple of other places where we can have a look at what the guys are doing. Yeah, this is on the short side. Pretty much the opposite of what the white whale is doing, but this guy has BTC and Hype. I just wanted to look at the price action of Hype. There was an all-time high just recently, right? And usually Hype is pretty very strong token. It has fallen a little bit, so it might be our hedge on the long side. If we were to do something like short Ethereum and long Hype, I'll be pretty stable. Because for example, with Solana is even more volatile than Ethereum right now, especially at this price levels. It can easily go to like 220 to 30, and on the other hand, falling down to 170 is also on the table because it keeps on doing that thing over and over again. So it's definitely more volatile, but volatility is good. I mean, this is not of course, there's Bitcoin, which is pretty underperforming if you compare that to Hype, Solana, Ethereum. But it's good to have a look at it from the perspective of it being the indicator for the general market. If Bitcoin will go down, below 105, below 100 thousand in general, then it means that we might be getting the reversal, slowly maybe shifting into kind of a bear market for a shorter time. You know, it's definitely worth checking out what's happening with Bitcoin. Let's have a look at a couple of other tokens as well to see what's up there. There is a lot of tokens that actually lost quite a lot. So one of them is of course Fartcoin. That basically it went super down, right? I think this is like the lowest since like let me actually go with CoinGecko and see the chart for Fartcoin. Because I'm tempted to long Fartcoin for the longer time, even though the chart doesn't look great, right? We had this kind of prices, 73, well, basically like 2 months ago, right? In April. That was the lowest, going with 220, then it went up from 20 cents to basically $1.5, doing a couple X's here, and then it's basically going down. So it will be a little bit like catching knives, even though I like Fartcoin and so far it was pretty good coin. So that's one of the things that we can try. Looking at other stuff as well. Well, Launchcoin, yeah, minus 20% in a day. Let me look what coins are doing. Yeah, Pump is pretty much the same price all the time. Trump, Syrup, pretty much everything is in the red today. Yeah, let me just check what could be, if I were to go with that stop loss around here. Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking about the position I could take here. That would be definitely one of them. So basically doing something like take profit at 4,050, stop loss at 4,700, because if we go back to 4,700, I think we're back on track to becoming, well, to getting back this bullish momentum. And if not, if we can't really break it, then it's going down a lot. I think even then we could go lower than 4,000. We could basically take something like maybe 380 really. So that one is tempting. Yeah, so this is one of the things that I'm tempted to do. It will be much easier to short Ethereum than, for example, Solana. On Solana, I'm still a little bit more on the bullish side because we don't really have this kind of treasury companies buying Solana in the billions. With Ethereum, we have that. Even then, we don't really have that much of the price movements. I think everyone that could buy Ethereum already did so. Maybe there's a couple of guys still waiting for the price action. But it doesn't, well, it doesn't say that we won't go much higher, but we need definitely to regroup a little bit, and going down might be that regrouping and accumulation, because then the price would look better for a lot of the buyers. On the other hand, we have this line that basically, yeah, whatever you want to put it, it's a little bit uptrendy in the end, so we're not getting lower lows. We probably are stuck at this level of 4,300, which means that we might be chopping around here for a little bit. So that's why I'm tempted to maybe short it. And the likely scenario is also if I put the large enough take profit as well, the stop loss would be like 4,700, then basically there's a smaller chance of actually that hitting, and we could just chop around. We probably would be in the position for longer. For example, if I were to put something like that with the stop loss price of 4, this is what I'm thinking, maybe like that. I have to establish connection. Yeah, let me place that order. I mean, if we hit the stop loss, then we basically back in the first place. We back to like $1,000. But if we hit take profit at 390, then we basically halfway there. We are at $5,000. So I think this is a pretty good risk reward ratio, especially that, as I said, Ethereum to me feels pretty heavy right now. I would say definitely there's more chance of that going down than suddenly going up a lot. The only thing is that there's still a lot of volatility involved, and what may happen is that we might be just going and doing something like that. And we might, like, there are a couple of places here that actually, like we could hit my stop loss and then go down. That's definitely possible. It happened just recently a couple of times, and also it happened with like smaller assets. Of course, Ethereum is pretty big, and Hyperliquid is have like this huge deep liquidity, so it's a little bit different than other assets, but still this is something possible. So yeah, I think this is the trade that I want to put in, because in this market it's much harder to just long. If I'm just thinking where I want to put the long for the as a hedge, in the case that we really keep on going up. And in this case, we could go with something like Fartcoin, definitely, which is great for the, it's super down. If it keeps on going down, then basically its game is over to a certain extent, at least for Fartcoin. And on the other hand, there's 10x leverage. We can do that with like the super, like very tight stop losses, and maybe use that as a way to hedge. We can potentially do something like very small position, even, because even small position would be fine. Yeah, so I would be tempted to do something like that. I'm going to do that again. So we're pretty much doing the same setup we did last time, exactly shorting Ethereum, longing Fartcoin. But last time Fartcoin was even in a better position. Right now, if it's really going down even more, I think like let's see what we can put here. So if we put 0.7, that's I think pretty cool. And we're going to go for like $1 Fartcoin. Right, so this is basically betting on the reversal of Fartcoin chart. And if we reverse and we get really great action on Ethereum, this actually kind of hedge will basically, well, this is a pretty good hedge because, so first of all, it can of course fail. We can go much more down. Fartcoin can lose everything, and that's it. We're going to lose just $200 in this case. So considering that we have 2,600, that's not that substantial right now. On the other hand, if we win this bet, that there's going to be reversal, because, for example, if we'll keep going up and there's going to be like bullish news in the market, then basically this is a perfect hedge, because the amount we lose on Ethereum short will be basically covered by this long. So I think this is good because we still be at like $2,000, even if Ethereum will keep on going up. So yeah, so I'm going to stay with this this hedge. I think it's fine in the case it's going up. For Solana, Ange is right asking. Solana is for me is more undecided. I think 200 is like the fair price for Solana. So from my perspective, you can go both up and down. If it were like 180, I would probably buy it. If it were at 210, 215, I would short it. But at 200, I don't know. This can really go anyway, and I don't want to. And I don't want to bet here because it's less obvious than some of the other assets. But yeah, I agree. Like historically, September wasn't good for crypto assets. Also, August historically wasn't good for crypto assets, even though this August was probably the best for some of the assets like Ethereum, which went to all-time high after 4 years, which is amazing. So yeah, there's in the crypto markets, there's history, but there's never like written rules for what has to happen. And even though historically September was bad, no one says that this won't be like the best September ever. So you have to keep that in mind. And that's why we're trading in probabilities. We don't have like, certainties, we have probabilities. And you have to take into account the fact that, some of the things can go up, some of the things can go down, and we can lose all the capital all the time. So we have to remember that. So yeah, this is what we bet for. We're going to see how it goes. I think this is a pretty fair bet here. This is betting that we won't go back over 4,700 quickly, or at least not in the next week or two. Probably the worst scenario here for this thing is just to chop around. So we won't lose, we might lose Fartcoin if it really keeps on getting down, because that's always possible. But for example, for Ethereum, it just keeps on oscillating and nothing will happen. So yeah, we're going to see what will happen here. But I think it's pretty fair bet here. So that's one of the things that I wanted to do. I think, yeah, I'm pretty happy with this position. I'm going to note it. We're pretty much going the same as before. So if short, Fartcoin, long, is the week before, betting on ETH being going down, Fartcoin long as a hedge if we have macro bullish momentum. That's basically the reason here for doing this kind of trade. So yeah, we're going to see. I think like this is a pretty good stop loss price, right? I think like 4,700 is a good price, but of course, I have to remember that there was this movement here over the past week. You can quickly grow up and then basically reverse within the 2-3 days here, right? From the 22nd to 25th, we basically reversed all this bullishness, and this can happen again. So you always have to keep that in mind. But for that, we have Fartcoin long. So yeah, especially that Fartcoin, I think, is so oversold right now after all this nice movement that, yeah, I'm pretty positive. But of course, everything can happen. So let's have a look a little bit before ending the stream on, we're going to have a look at what other people are doing in different cohorts, especially when it comes to different money printers. And as you can see, most of them are bearish, especially bearish Fartcoin, Pump, ENA, Link, and then slightly bearish on Bitcoin, Hype, XRP, Doge, indecisive when it comes to Ethereum and Solana. Yeah, I'm pretty much indecisive as well when it comes to Sol. A little bit more on the bearish side when it comes to Ethereum. And there are a couple of interesting bets probably. Yeah, let's look at this guy. You can always see closest to liquidation assets. And we're going to see some of the guys doing, for example, Fartcoin, which is probably interesting here. Oh, this is more of the bot, I guess, with the multiple positions. So I'm going to keep on scrolling. This is the larger bet on the market, basically shorting every major asset on the cross, right? And as you can see, he's making quite a lot also on the funding side, which is pretty interesting because he probably holds those positions for quite some time already. Pretty great entries. He started shorting, for example, Bitcoin at $1,019, so around all-time high. Same for Ethereum. Solana a little bit lower from the all-time high, but overall also Fartcoin. He did great on Fartcoin, as you can see. But he did like the best probably here is for Bitcoin when it comes to he shorted. He has massive short on Bitcoin. So that's pretty interesting. And generally speaking, it looks like he did pretty well in the past month. Yeah. Yeah, that's much better. Yeah, so he's plus $12 million, but as you can see, this crazy drawdown when he went from like $11 million to $1 million, but $10 million down 91%, right, within like a couple of days. So that's pretty crazy. That's why if you want to win big, you have to risk a lot in order to do it. And he's mostly, and he has some spot holdings as well. We can probably see what he's holding on spot, but that's mostly a little bit of Ethereum, a little bit of, most of that is USDC. Well, he's holding $57 million, pretty nice. A little bit of Bitcoin. So that's basically, not that little bit. You can see that he has like $58 million in Ethereum, $33 million in Bitcoin. So that's a massive portfolio here. Let's have a look at some of the other guys in the money printer setting. So what we can have a look here at. Let me just check. Yeah, this is another guy that had like massive drawdowns and crazy price action, right? Like he went almost close to zero from $13 million and then back to like $20 million PNL. So crazy swings. This is basically just shorting right now Bitcoin and Hype. And again, he started shorting around $111,000, and for Hype around 31. So he's that's a minus PNL here, but that's like a much smaller position here. But basically, it's just massive short on Bitcoin. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. There are different ways to win in the market. As you can see, many of those guys actually just focus on Ethereum, Bitcoin, Solana, Hype, and a couple of other major coins, and that's it. You don't really have to go after like all the small coins. You can just focus on a couple of them. Even Bitcoin, Ethereum. If you look at the white whale, he basically just does Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Hype. You are usually just having like 2 positions in total. So that's like the super small thing. In general. So this way you can just focus on what's really important. The less positions, the better. But of course, to each one a different style. There are also whales with like 15 or 20 positions. And what they do that because maybe they have some kind of a bot that they're running, they're fully automated, or they have just a semi-automated trading software that allows them to manage the position in a better way. Okay, I think I'm going to end here. Basically, I'm happy with the position. What we have, I think we're going to have a look. As always, I stream on Mondays and Fridays. Not every Monday, not every Friday, but when I stream on those 2 days, so you can check them out. Of course, subscribe to the channel to see everything that's coming along the way. Apart from that, I have a YouTube channel when I review different projects, crypto projects. I talk about the markets in general. On Twitter, I usually just tweet about the smaller stuff or meme coins, whatever is interesting in a crypto space. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel and see you